That's right. Looks just like me.
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To blame, haters face the world's mistakes. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. And we feel betrayed.
I don't know. I'm late.
We were raised
Okay.
to lose the race. Wake
I hung some doors at the campground today. Sorta. I've been looking at property and getting depressed. That's like my new routine. Look at shit I can't afford. Get depressed. Stop the music. Start the Facebook. Facebook's already started. I fucked up tonight, so there you go. No lag there.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is?
What?
Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Binda land. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I am Will Bird, and this is Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Appreciate it. Yeah. What are we doing tonight? The Holy War. That's what we're doing. I always find it bad when I agree with Tucker Carlson. Like, that's usually where I draw the line. Like, oh no. Why are we agreeing? But, you know, first time for everything, I guess. I think that this video that Tucker Carlson has was pretty telling. By the way, thank you guys for joining us. If you want to support the stream, do it at the link or the built-in ways. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Leave a message so I know who to thank. Let's go here.
Today, Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple.
This is a video playing down at the bottom of Hegseth.
Today, Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple Mount, the Western Wall tunnels.
I know, that's true, asking.
And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the...
You guys know that we made a fake grifting channel. Some of you might not know this. I made a channel called Nick Swick, and it was an acronym for Nothing Can Stop What Is Coming. So nothing can, Nick, stop what is coming, Swick, which is like a saying they have. And I made a whole channel with a voice changer and like this shadow-looking figure that did the news or that read the stories or whatever, and convinced the followers that I was somehow tangentially related or maybe JFK Jr., and that I was a Gitmo or blah, blah, blah. That channel made a few $100s. We donated it all because I felt bad about it, but it made a few $100s. We helped some people out that were like in the community struggling that followed me at the time. But we made a whole channel and did an experiment. I took all the my Patreon people with me and was like, hey, you guys are in on this. So people can't say I did it, you know, trying to grift or whatever, trying to steal from people. It worked surprisingly well.
Today, Jennifer and I and others had a chance to go see the Western Wall of the Temple Mount.
It did blow up quick.
Western Wall tunnels, so much of the old city. And as you stand there, you can't help but behold the miracle before you. And it got me thinking about another miracle that I hope all of you don't see too far away. Because 1917 was a miracle.
Okay.
1948 was a miracle.
Okay.
1967 was a miracle. 2017, the declaration of Jerusalem as the capital was a miracle.
Okay.
There's no reason why the miracle of the reestablishment of the temple on the Temple Mount is not possible. I don't know how it would happen. You don't know how it would happen, but I know that it could happen.
Isn't that one of the things that's supposed to happen before the second coming and the apocalypse and shit?
What is that? That's the Secretary of War right now.
There's like, I don't know that it's in the Bible, but a lot of people believe that there are passages in the Bible that talk about there has to be the rise of the third temple for the Antichrist to come. Yeah.
Now, overseeing the war with Iran that people fighting it are starting to say actually is about rebuilding this third temple. It's the same man. Okay, this is the point where you begin to think maybe we should have talked about this and its implications. And what are its implications? Religious war, global religious war. So the first heavily publicized move by the United States military and the Israeli military in this conflict was to kill the head of state of Iran, the 86-year-old Ayatollah Khamenei, who was replaced today by his son, who's apparently more anti-Western than he was, so I guess, strictly speaking, that wasn't very effective. But if you take 3 steps back, and no one did because everyone's busy denouncing him as Hitler and the most evil man in the world. And
so I believe the Bible very literally was made for the people at the time that it was written, basically, right? It was apocalyptic text to warn about the Roman and like the New Testament and the book of Revelation and shit like that. About Nero, he had just passed away. They were afraid he would come back and they'd be persecuted. And I personally think that in 70 AD, when the temple was sieged and destroyed, that was the or CE 70 CE. That was what was written about in the Bible and shit.
We're so grateful he's dead. When was the last time the United States military or the Israeli, working in conjunction with the Israeli military, killed the head of a world religion? Is that wise? It's not because we agree with all world religions. It's not an endorsement of Shia Islam to say maybe we should pause before killing its 86-year-old leader. It is instead an acknowledgement.
I think it was a lot of allegory, I guess. It was like written as a secret encoded text for like Christians of the day that were heavily persecuted. They couldn't write a lot of things openly, so they wrote about it cryptically and warnings to other Christians. And even when Paul bends the knee to the Romans and is like, hey, we got, like, they're in charge because God put them in charge and we got to follow the law of the land or whatever. He still gets fucking killed by the Romans. Like, all that happened right after the beginning of the Common Era. And that, I don't think any of it applies to today.
That might have consequences that affect the United States and Europe and the world, but particularly the United States, since we are the United States and we have children and hope to have grandchildren, and what will be the downstream effects for them?
A lot of the Jewish people believe it as well, like the blood red calves. Like, there's a whole foundation that people like donate to like get these blood red calves and have them always ready to be sacrificed and all kinds of crazy shit.
A religious leader. Did killing the religious leader cripple their command and control structure? Were they unable to launch missiles and drones when we killed the 86-year-old Ayatollah? No. Because he knew he was going to be killed. That's why he stayed above ground, apparently. He wanted to be martyred. Now, why would he want to be martyred? Maybe because he wanted a religious war. Why did we kill him? Maybe because we wanted a religious war. Now, why would we want that? Why would the Israelis, who got us into this war, everyone admits that now, sorry, why would they want that? Well, I don't know. Think about what would happen if this war leads to the destruction of the Dome on the Rock and the Al-Aqsa complex on Mount Moriah in Jerusalem, and we'll explain in a second how that could happen. A war that began with the killing of the head of Shia Islam. What would happen? Well, here are the numbers. There are about 15.5 million Jews in the world total. There are about 2.5 billion Christians, and there are about 2 billion Muslims. So whatever happens next is not.
God, I hate this filter that like stays on your face even when you move just a little bit.
A fight between
Makes
the Muslims and the
motion
Jews,
sickness or some shit.
2 billion versus 15 million. Not much.
I don't know. Fundamental Christians have thought it's the end time since forever, and they're pretty accepted, right? Every church I ever went to as like a kid, and my parents as well, like they always thought the end times were right around the corner. Like they were just waiting it out till Jesus came and got them and blah, blah, blah. But, you know, it's only when they get outside of Christianity that we call them fucking weirdos. Like when they're not practicing Christianity and talking about the end times and apocalypse, we're like, what the fuck's wrong with those people?
Of a fight. This is likely to be, if not brought under control immediately, or maybe it's too late, a war, a religious war, the one that Lindsey Graham just described, between Muslims and Christians. And it's not going to play out in the Middle East because this is a regional conflict, but as noted at the beginning, it's a global conflict where every big power has a stake in what happens. This will play out globally, and it'll play out in our cities.
I heard that Russia's committed intelligence. They can't really commit any manpower or machinery or weaponry, and that China might be in play for backing Iran now.
Is the fastest growing religion in the United States. There are not that many Muslims in the United States, what, 5 billion or something like that? But it's the fastest growing religion. That's enough to cause problems. For sure, in Europe, 65 million Muslims, second biggest religion in every European country. Fastest growing in every country. Australia, same thing. Second biggest, fastest growing. New Zealand, same thing. Second biggest.
You have to admit that, like, Christianity is basically like just a fucking death cult we've all accepted, right? They've got to keep up certain practices and do certain things so that when they die, they can see their spiritual leader and live with him forever. And if stuff gets bad enough, they don't even have to die. Their leader's going to come pick them up and take them away from here, and they'll be rewarded. Like the way that people make fun of like Muslims for thinking like they get virgins and shit. Bitch, you think you get a mansion in a cloud and everything's perfect? Like, it's fucking weird too. We just accept it in America.
Fastest growing. Canada, same thing. What happens in all those countries? Those Christian, Western, white countries. What happens there? If there's the religious war that Lindsey Graham and clearly the Israeli government and some in our government.
Like if you weren't raised in Christianity at all, you didn't know nothing about Jesus or the Bible or nothing, and some guy came up and told you the whole story, you'd be like, get the fuck away from me. Get the fuck away from me. What the fuck what are you even talking? Get the fuck away from me.
Are hoping for. What happens? Ho, ho, ho.
Ho, ho, ho. He sounded a little French there. Ho, ho, ho. And then we had this come out. I don't know if you guys saw this earlier.
We are coming on the air with breaking news right now. Our exclusive interview with Iran's foreign minister who joined us from Tehran, which just wrapped up moments ago. The foreign minister answering questions about why Iran is attacking its neighbors in the Middle East and whether they're willing to negotiate with the U.S. But I started by asking him who exactly is in charge of Iran right now after its supreme leader was killed over the weekend. Minister Arachi, we thank you for your time. Who is in charge of Iran right now?
Well, thank you, Tom, for having me in your program. Well, I think the system is working very well. We have lost a supreme leader, but according to our constitution, there is now a council which takes charge of his duties, and then the president, the cabinet, ministers, everybody is in its position. So the system is working very well, and everybody, is in charge.
We know that there's been a council. We know that there's been a council to fulfill the duties of the supreme leader, but we also know that there's a selection process in play to pick the next Ayatollah. There are reports that Ayatollah Khamenei's son is a front runner. Is that true?
Well, actually, I don't exact information. There are many rumors around, but we have to wait for the assembly of experts to choose the new supreme leader.
I also asked the foreign minister about Iranian ships being sunk and whether he believes Iran can win this war. Here's what he had to say. The world saw your battleships sunk in the Indian Ocean. Dozens of Iranian sailors died. Your response was, quote, "Mark my words, the U.S. will come to bitterly regret the precedent it has set." So what is Iran going to do? And at this point, given the state of your military right now, what can you do?
Well, first of all, that was a training ship. Which was invited by the Indian Navy to take.
This is not true. Like we fucking devastated their Navy.
Part in an exercise, and they went there as their guests, the Indians guests, and they did participate in that exercise, and they were in their way back home, and the ship was unarmed. So attacking an unarmed ship full of training officers and sailors is a war crime, I have to say.
What type of battleship, Minister, excuse me, but what type of military would allow a battleship into the ocean with no weapons on board?
Well, because it was, the goal was not, their aim was not going to war. They went for an exercise, which was arranged by the Indian Navy. There are so many other guests who went there, and they.
I saw the big headline that was Iranian bombers came within 2 minutes of striking the largest U.S. base in the Middle East. Blah blah blah. 2 minutes out's a long fucking time. In a fucking jet. 2 minutes out is a long fucking time. I know that sounds close, but it's just not.
Took part in a parade, and everything was a peaceful training course or a peaceful training process. So they didn't need weapons. They actually went to that mission long before the war started. And when I said that the U.S. would regret that, I meant that they have, the U.S. have unfortunately set a precedent which is, against the international law, and would
they were flying at fucking they were fucking low. I think they were like 50 to 80 feet off the fucking deck, trying to avoid radar.
Would actually damage the whole concept of international, law of seas. When an unarmed, ship is attacked with no reason, and a big number of sailors are killed without taking part in any battle, that would set a precedent. And
the U.S. The U.S. says it controls the skies, that Iran's ballistic missile attacks have dropped more than 80%. The U.S. has hit over 2,000 Iranian targets. The Pentagon says America is winning decisively. Do you think they're wrong?
Well, I think, now 6 days after the war, it is clear that the U.S. Has failed to achieve its main goal, which was a clean, rapid victory. They failed to achieve that, and now they are trying to justify why they did attack.
Fucking Trump is now talking about invading or fucking bombing or something to Cuba, going to Cuba next. He even said, like, many people have told me you can't do two at once, but I think I can.
Us, and they have presented so many different reasons, but none of them worked. And now they are talking about plan B, and I believe that's their plan B would be even a bigger failure. So they are controlling our sky, but at the moment,
Minister, your supreme leader was killed. Your top military leaders were killed. Your military installations have been bombed. How can you call that a failure?
Well, then what they have achieved? What was their goal? They came here for a regime change, perhaps. They came here for a rapid victory, so they can,
I hope the Kurdish people don't help. I mean, they fight so hard because they want their own land where they're not persecuted. But every time we get a chance to like pay them back, we just fuck them over, dude.
Control everything.
So much.
The system is working. The commanders have been replaced, and the supreme leader is going to be replaced soon, according to the procedures set by the Constitution. So everything is in order. Yes, we have been targeted, but we have also have attacked so many targets in Israel. And so many targets belongs to the Americans. Their assets.
Oh shit! Send Cheeto to run Iran. Everyone, there you go. He could be their next religious leader. He could just get up there and yell a bunch of shit. You never know; it might work. Thank you very much for the donation. We'll put that towards the "I'm never going to be able to buy a house" fund. Thank you.
Their bases, their installations in the region, and they have not been able to prevent those attacks. Our missiles are still working. Our missiles are still in place and hitting.
I'm not saying the Kurds won't help. They do, because they feel like if they help like NATO allies, right, that eventually someone will be like, okay, well, we're going to protect them and this is now their lands. But we just fuck them every goddamn time, dude. Every time they're pinned down, every time we withdraw, every time someone comes to fuck with them, we're like, I don't know. Who? The Kurds, who's that? But then when we need help, they're always ready to fight for us.
Targets in a very precise manner. So,
Minister, can Iran win this war? If I can ask you, can Iran win this war, and what does winning look like for Iran?
Well, there is no winner in this war. Our win is to be able to resist against, their illegal.
We ought to carve them out some land like we did fucking for Israel or whatever. Like they ought to have Kurdistan.
Goals, and this is what we have done so far. So they have failed to achieve their goals, and we have been able to resist against them, to stand against the most powerful army of the world, as they claim.
I heard they're going to put a soccer academy there.
Israelis, who are also claim to have the big army, 2 of them are nuclear armed, but still the people of Iran, the army of the armed forces of Iran, have been able to stand firm against them. They couldn't, stop us firing missiles to Israel and to other destinations. We are doing very well, and they have not been able to stop us. So this is our win, and I don't think they can be a winner at the end of the day.
Minister, explain to us and to the world, really, Iran has chosen to attack at least 10 other countries, many of them your Arab.
By the way, we just heard that the 3 U.S. fighter pilots were actually shot down by a single Kuwaiti pilot in an F-18.
Neighbors. None of them were involved in this war. Why are you attacking your Muslim neighbors during the holy month of Ramadan?
Oh, please don't mistake. We have not attacked our neighbors. We have not attacked Muslim countries. We have attacked Americans' targets and Americans' bases, Americans' installations, which are unfortunately located in the soils of our neighbors. So we have made it clear for them. I have been in touch with their foreign ministers, and I have explained that we are not targeting you. We have no problem with you. We are only targeting the American installations and American bases, and the reason is obvious.
But Minister, Iran is hitting civilian targets, striking hotels, high-rise apartments, airports in many of these countries. Those are not military targets.
Well, no, we have targeted wherever the Americans are. Maybe there have been some collateral damages, as it is in every war. Look, more than 70,000 people were killed in Gaza by Israelis, and Israeli army called all of them collateral damage. So yes, there is the possibility of
That's a good point.
Collateral damages in this situation as well. This is what we have warned everybody in the region beforehand, that if the U.S. attack us, we have no way but to attack their installations, which are in your territories, and then everything may go out of hand, and the war would become a disaster for the whole region. This is what we have warned, and many others have warned, and many Americans have also warned the U.S. administration to not repeat the same mistake. They have done it before in our region, and this is what they have done. This war is not our war. This is not our choice. This is a war of choice by the United States.
Iran's foreign minister also weighed in about whether his country would be open to a ceasefire with the U.S. Here's what he told me.
Trump's already said, nope, there is no deal. It's full surrender, nothing else. That's all we'll accept. He put that out on fucking Truth Social, of course.
Right now, you're saying Iran does not want a ceasefire.
We are not asking for a ceasefire.
By the way, I don't remember who it was, but someone commented, it might have been Jen. Someone commented they can send all of Kristi Noem's outfits to Kash Patel because he can fit in them. Which is very funny when you think about the female FBI jacket they had to find for him before you get off the plane.
Any reason why we should negotiate with the U.S. when we negotiated with them twice, and every time they attacked us at the middle of negotiations? So there is no request for a ceasefire by us, and there is no request for the negotiation with the U.S. From us. We have never.
Well, Trump doesn't even know what he wants. He was asked by a reporter, and he's like, "Yeah, another religious leader, would be fine. Whoever they pick." But then he's also saying, nope, unconditional surrender. So I guess he doesn't really care who the government becomes as long as they'll admit and surrender to him. So even if just as radical of a person gets in charge and just plays the part and is like, we surrender to the U.S., kind of deal, then they'll be in charge, I guess. I don't know.
Any messages to them?
None of it makes sense. We don't have a clear goal.
Said that Iran cannot reach U.S. soil, right? The American homeland.
Which is what happened with everything around Iraq and Afghanistan, right? We're like, oh my God, somebody attacked us. What do? I don't know. Let's fucking occupy their country for 25 years. That'll show them. What was the goal? We found Saddam. We never found bin Laden. Well, not during those operations. And then we just fucking wandered around and fought people for a long time. And then once we took over all of Iraq, they just started popping up everywhere. At least at one point, we had like battlefronts. Like we were going to fucking Baghdad. We were going to Tikrit. We were going to, but then they just popped up from everywhere. We're just getting shot in the back and blown up.
with the weapons that you have right now. Is there any other way that Americans should be concerned that Iran could attack the American homeland?
No, they have enough bases around us.
At least in Afghanistan, a lot of parts of it, it got too cold for most of the fighting to continue at times.
We should go further than that. They have enough soldiers, they have enough, military assets, and they have enough military bases, military installations. So
well, the IRGC has a monopoly on guns and violence and power and everything, right? If they were going to do a people overthrow the government, there should have been a group of people ready to go. And they would have to be at least as well armed, as well funded, and as well organized, if not better, than the IRGC that was in place. And when the bomb struck, there's like a 24-hour window. We bombed the fuck out of everything. Then they come flooding in. Not like, okay, there you go. We did it. Now figure out everything.
Beyond that.
The Strait of Hormuz hasn't been closed, but the threat of its closure has disrupted the international economy. If this,
yeah, we got oil back up over $90 a barrel. The one good thing this is doing, remember I told you oil was getting too cheap for U.S. producers, right? We're closing rigs, and you can say, oh, yay, gas is so cheap, but that hurts domestic oil production. And when domestic oil production is hurt, and they're closing rigs, when some oil-producing country, OPEC or whatever, tell us to get fucked, we are really fucked. Like oil will shoot up over $5-6 a gallon, or gas, because we don't have the capacity to produce it at home, and you can't just turn on a rig, right? You just can't turn it up back on with the snap of a finger the same way you could shut it down. Rig counts for the first time since Trump took office are going up now. Just because oil hit $91 a barrel? Something like that. So rig counts since Trump took office are finally going up. And he's the drill baby drill guy. Like, what the fuck?
War continues. Will Iran try to close the Strait of Hormuz?
But they have not closed it. It is the ships and tankers who don't...
Here's the truth nobody wants to tell you. Could we potentially get gas down with enough willing and dealing and... promises to foreign countries? Could we get gas down to like fucking $2 a gallon? Yeah, probably. $1.99, yes. But if those countries decide to tell us to get fucked, again, we're fucked. And we'll probably be fucked for like a year and a half, 2 years while all of our shit comes back online. What we should really do is pack out our strategic reserve. That gives us a buffer when people tell us to get fucked, right? We should make it gigantic like China does. We should have a ton in strategic reserve. And then we should try to keep the price at a point to where our rigs are open. We should also not be afraid of, even though people will be like, that's socialism. We should also not be afraid of when there is an oil crisis or a war in the Middle East or whatever. We, as a government, should not be afraid to tell our producers, hey, we know you can sell gas for $11 a gallon overseas. We don't give a fuck. You're going to sell it here first, and we're going to have supplies to keep our gas around whatever we can agree on, right? $2.95 a gallon. And that's our, even when we're producing enough oil to have it down at $2.50 a gallon for gas, we shouldn't. We should just keep it at like $2.90. That's our floor, right? Whatever our floor is, we should keep it there, funnel that money back into our infrastructure and our things that we do, or make them pay for renewable energy, something like that, a fund. Because cheap gas, even though everybody's like, oh my God, gas is so cheap, it doesn't really, I mean, what are you actually saving on a tank of gas? How big is your tank? 14 gallons? And we're talking about a nickel a gallon? Like, get the fuck out of here. You're not saving that much, and it fucking is a detriment to our oil industry. When we start closing rigs, it takes a long time to get them going again. And it fucks us for a long time. And countries can exercise that. If OPEC is just like, I don't like the way Trump talked about us today, or whoever's in charge, Biden, it doesn't matter. I don't like the way Biden talked about us today. And suddenly they just want to start bringing millions less barrels out of the ground. It skyrockets up, and there's nothing we can do about it if we don't have our own strong domestic oil production.
Try to pass through to cross the strait because they are, concerned about.
It does. So even when the strait, even if the strait isn't closed, okay, you're dealing with oil companies. If there's danger in the straits, why would an oil company even consider bringing a tanker through at $85 a barrel when they can just sit there for 3 weeks and bring it through at $160 a barrel? You're dealing with companies that want to make the most money. So if there's any danger in the straits, why would they do it? All that's going to happen is the price is going to go up.
Being hit by
That's what we got to do. We got to have a bottomed out, like even if we get gas down to $2.10 a gallon, we're never going to go below $2.75 a gallon. And whatever that difference is, we should put it towards the electric grid and infrastructure projects and shit like that. That's what we should do.
Either side. So we have no intention to close it right now.
And again, when other countries are calling our refineries saying, we'll buy everything for $5, tell them to get fucked. No. You're going to sell it here. We're going to make sure we meet our demand first. Then you can sell whatever else you produce. You sell it for whatever price you fucking want.
But as the war continues, we will consider every scenario. For the time being, we have not done yet. And but the strait is, almost empty of ships and tankers because of their concern.
In this war, are international oil tankers potential targets for Iran?
No. Why they should be a goal for us?
Iran threatened tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran has already threatened them to set them afire.
No, we have not threatened them. They have.
Today I learned that Mark Wayne Mullen, usually I'm not like this. You guys know that I've been an advocate for like regular people being on Congress, right? Today I learned that he's the only representative in modern history that doesn't have at least a 4-year degree. And that's making me second think. Like, I've watched a bunch of his clips today. Like that one that was like, what was we in reading and math in 1979? What was we ranked? And now he's going to be the head of DHS without at least a 4-year degree. And I'm starting to rethink my position.
They are concerned themselves and they don't use the Strait of Hormuz because of the concerns they have to be hit by either side.
What was we ranked
Talking to U.S. officials
in reading and arithmetic in 1979?
through back channels?
No.
There's no communication with you and Steve Witkoff or Jared Kushner?
No, not after Thursday that we met last time. We met last Thursday. We negotiated for almost 7 hours. They were so happy when they left.
Listen to this and tell me it doesn't sound like some guy at the fucking 7-Eleven leaning up against a fucking IROC Z Camaro.
Right. And what was we ranked in reading and math in 1979? Right. And what was we ranked in reading and math in 1979?
I'm sorry, what?
What was we ranked nationally in math and reading in 1979?
We were very, very low on the totem pole.
Or number one.
And this bitch is even dumber. Like he was trying to feed you a softball. We were number 1 in 1979. We're not number 1 now. What was you looking at in 1979?
Reading in 1979.
We were very, very low on the totem pole.
Or number 1 in 1979. Today.
Oh, in 1979.
1979.
Sorry. Okay.
In 1979, we were ranked number 1. Right. And what was we ranked in?
What was we ranked?
To the negotiation table because we were able to make significant progress, as the Omani foreign minister said in his statement, and he checked his statement with both sides, and both sides agreed with the term he used, and we were made really significant progress. They were happy when they left, but
yeah, I guess I should have said current sitting senator without a 4-year degree.
What happened after they left?
And I asked Iran's foreign minister about whether
he did go to college. He was a wrestler and I guess an MMA fighter at one point. He fought people that I didn't recognize. Maybe some big MMA fans can. that he's 4-0, but he only fought 4 professional fights. He was in college on a wrestling scholarship and left to be a plumber. His family apparently owns a pretty large plumbing business. He wouldn't have had the money to run for Congress. You know what I mean? Like,
whether his country is prepared for a possible ground invasion from American troops. Watch this. President Trump has not ruled out boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the.
Even that took the reporter, and look at his sly little fucking shit-eating grin. No, we're waiting for them.
I asked Iran's foreign minister about whether his country is prepared for a possible ground.
And they probably are, as far as like IEDs and fucking explosives and booby traps and shit. They saw what worked in Iraq.
Invasion from American troops.
Drones.
President Trump has not ruled out boots on the ground in Iran. Are you afraid of a U.S. invasion in your country?
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that.
Yeah, so Mullins Plumbing, he expanded it to HVAC and electrical, so they got electricians and HVAC technicians. But it probably employs 100, 150 people or something.
No, we are waiting for them.
You are waiting for the U.S. military to invade the ground troops?
Yes, because we are confident that we can confront them, and that would be a big disaster for them.
They don't have to, if there's boots on the ground, they don't have to technically win a boots on the ground war. They just have to make it painful enough that someone reels in Trump.
So you're saying that Iran is ready and willing to take on the U.S. military if there were to be ground troops?
Well, we were ready for this war even more than the previous war. So you can see, the quality of our missiles, how much they are upgraded after the last war, because we learned lots of lessons.
The guy's pretty well spoken. I mean, maybe half of it's all bullshit and propaganda and whatever, but he's more well spoken than Trump or Markwayne Mullen.
Prepared for any other eventuality, even a ground invasion. So our soldiers are prepared for any scenario. When I said that we are waiting for them, it didn't mean that we are waiting for continuation of the war. No, but we have prepared ourselves to confront with any scenario, with any eventuality, any possibility, and we know that
we've got people on TikTok saying, "Oh, now the left is against women's rights. You don't want the U.S. taking out this horrible regime that's." Bitch, you all fucking follow around preachers that are meeting with the sect deaf, Pete Hegseth, that believe that women shouldn't be allowed to vote. And you're trying to play me and say that we're doing this for Iranian women? That's what we're doing now? Like, your cheerleader preacher doesn't think women or black people should be allowed to vote. That's Pete Hegseth's personal spiritual leader. And you want me to believe you're doing this for Iranian women?
Are your allies Russia and China helping you?
Well, they are supporting us politically and otherwise.
Are they supporting you militarily?
Well, military cooperation between Iran and Russia is not a secret. We have worked with each other in the past. And that has continued, and will continue, I guess.
And they are actively helping you in this war?
Well, they have always helped us.
So I'm going to understand that to mean yes, that they are actively assisting you in this war?
Well, I'm not going to give the details of our cooperation with other countries right in the middle of the war.
For more, I want to bring in our chief international correspondent, Keir Simmons. He joins us from the region.
Yeah, they are liberating them from life. They are helping them uninstall the Life app remotely.
In Dubai. And Keir, he made a lot of...
It's really technical support if you look at it that way. Right?
They haven't picked a leader yet, that they're not interested in a ceasefire. And he really tried to justify why Iran is attacking its neighbors. You're in one of those countries right now that is under attack. Does it seem like they're targeting only military assets?
Russia is actively providing Iran intelligence to target U.S. forces abroad. You come in here and say some of the wildest shit.
It doesn't, Tom, and that's not my view. That's the view of diplomats in this region and diplomats around the world. I will just say it was a calm, cool and collected performance, but for example, they've had to delay the funeral of Ayatollah Khamenei. They would not want to do that if everything was fine.
Right. So if we say that 70% of Iranians need our help and we kill 30% of that 70%, now how many need our help?
In Iran. To your question, Tom, for example, the Prime Minister of Qatar, after a call with Foreign Minister Araghchi, said that he categorically rejects Iran's claim that they are only...
I'm sure they're sharing intelligence. Why wouldn't they? Right? That's an ally. They provide them a lot of their drones and some material. They can't do material support. They can't really do money. They can't do military equipment. Intelligence is all they have. I guarantee they're sending intelligence.
Targeting sites that are legitimate, saying they're targeting, for example, the airport. But even then, the Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi, after a call with Foreign Minister Araghchi, made a statement that did condemn the attacks by the US in Israel, but then goes on to say that Iran should take seriously the legitimate concerns of neighboring countries, that China was confident it would. That is, from the China perspective.
I don't think they're going to come out outright and say it. Why would they? But obviously they are, right? And who keeps better intelligence on the U.S. Than anybody is probably Russia. It might not be super actionable. They might just be like, this is their base, this is their command center, this is their, their operations center for their flight line, this is blah, 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 this is the base in Qatar or whatever. But still, it's intelligence, especially with Iran's kind of not going to be very good at targeting our ships, but that's something Russia can do, right? They've got fucking satellites.
A kind of veiled way of saying that Iran needs to be careful about what it's doing in this region. We've had bombardment after bombardment after bombardment. The only reason those bombardments have not done as much damage as they could is because of the air defenses in this region.
Keir Simmons, we thank you. Stand by for us. I want to go to our senior national security correspondent, Courtney Kuby, who covers the Pentagon for us. Courtney, the foreign minister there had a lot to say. If there is some...
China has kind of alluded to the fact that they may be, China wants a weak U.S. for Taiwan, right? China gets a lot of its oil from Iran. I know they're publicly saying, we're not helping, we're not doing this, but what are they actually doing? You know what I mean?
Type of boots on the ground if there is an invasion by U.S. troops there, posturing at times, but sending a clear message to the White House.
Yeah, I was fascinated by a number of different things he said there, but from a U.S. military perspective, two things really stood out. One was what you just pointed out, Tom, and that's the idea of the Iranian...
I don't think that's true. That all stems from a satellite image of Ali Asaleen that was released, which is a base in Kuwait that I've been to. It's like a Kuwaiti airfield. And it looks like there's a fuel tank or something on fire. And people are like, oh, it's destroyed and 500 and some troops died there and blah, blah, blah. I don't see that. It looks like the fuel depot in the southeastern part of the base was hit by something. It's smoking a lot, but the base looks pretty intact.
Military being ready and waiting for U.S. boots on the ground. Of course, this has been a huge point of contention and discussion here in the U.S. even before the strikes began on Saturday morning. And that is because we have heard differing messages from the Trump administration about the possibility that U.S. troops could be on the ground there.
They wouldn't get away with it for long, right? They might be able to do not announce it for like 12 hours. They wouldn't get away with it for long, especially hundreds of U.S. soldiers. There's no fucking way, dude. No way.
Some point as part of this war in Iran, President Trump not ruling it out, and the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, also not ruling
And Iran and Russia and China and their propaganda machines are going to be rolling out all kinds of crazy shit.
That possibility. The real question is, why would U.S. troops be needed if, in fact, they're able to accomplish most of these military strikes from the air?
I would say 6 is probably an accurate number. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 10. If we start seeing numbers in the hundreds over a single strike, that seems kind of crazy to me, knowing that the protocols that all those bases are under, right? Air raid sirens and air defense going off, and everybody's in a fucking bunker, and you're only allowed to travel to fucking like get meals and shit, and then right back to the bunker. Even when I was overseas, we had nights we just slept in fucking bunkers because the threat was too high. I don't see like 500 U.S. soldiers gathering somewhere and just waiting on a bomb to hit them.
What would you need them for? And Tom, the answer would be if, in fact, the U.S. is trying to inflict some sort of regime change there, it would be tough to do that from the air. And then
here's where it started. It says Tasnim News Agency, which is affiliated with the IRGC, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, quoted its spokesperson, Ali Mohammed Nani, around midnight on Monday, alleging that 650 U.S. personnel were killed or wounded during the first 2 days of the war. He said that 160 American casualties were recorded in the targeting of the U.S. military headquarters in Bahrain alone. I don't trust that.
Question is the nuclear program. What exactly, how will there be any kind of assurance about exactly what happens at the facilities if the United States military decides to hit them again? We've not seen that so far as part of this current campaign. The other thing I want to point out that I was really fascinated by were his comments to you about the Strait of Hormuz and denying that the Iranians are interested in doing anything in the Strait of Hormuz. Of course, it would have a huge impact on global commerce. It already is, though, as travel through that.
I believe it would be a fight a lot like Iraq. Like, we would get in there, we would decimate, right? We roll air superiority, we take over the fucking everything in the air, and we bomb and obliterate the fuck out of everything. Heavy air support, even fucking naval gunnery and shit, right? We have everything, tomahawks and shit. We could probably take the capital pretty quick. The problem is you could never weed out all the fighters. So even if you take the capital, when there's 10,000 pockets of fucking 30 or more fighters hidden all over the fucking country, you're just getting blown up and shot in the back over and over and over and over and over again, right? You never get to a place to hand it over. You never get to a place where you can declare a safe zone or somewhere completely controlled because it's like guerrilla tactics, and you never know. And the more people you kill, the more people you radicalize. The more stuff you destroy, the more people you radicalize. The more people that's radicalized, the more likely they are to pick up arms. Insane. It's hard to fight a war like that.
That narrow choke point has already...
The problem isn't, could the U.S. go in a couple of weeks, take the capital? Absolutely, I think so. Especially with the way they want to run the Department of Defense with, like, pulling the safety rails off rules of engagement and shit like that. But that radicalizes a shit ton more people, first of all. That was kind of a mistake we made in Iraq. And then tried to knee-jerk, overreacted later in Iraq. But we could take the capital pretty quick, but it fucking takes decades to pull out of there and leave it stable, and we still didn't do a good job in Iraq, right? As soon as we left, fucking places that I remember fighting in to fucking take over the town were on the news, and ISIS was rolling in, fucking beheading people and shit.
Had been decreased so much in the last several days. You can see it there. At some points, it's as narrow as about 12 miles across, with normally a huge amount of tankers and commercial shipping going through that region. It is desperately down right now from where it was. The only reason that was fascinating to me, Tom, was his argument that they would not do anything to impede the Strait of Hormuz. I would just remember or mine it. I would recall 2019 when, in fact, Iran did use mines, limpet mines. Those are little magnetic mines on the side of two tankers, blowing both of them up, disabling them. It was in the Gulf of Oman. This would not be unheard of for the Iranians to lash out using mines in that region, Tom.
Yeah, and previously in the last two sort of conflicts, Iran saying they were going to stop the bombings, that they were done. Here saying there is no ceasefire. They're not interested in a ceasefire. I want to go straight to the White House with senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake. Garrett, I also asked him about an Axios report that's out today saying that President Trump wants to personally be involved. He says that will never happen. Personally involved in the selection of the next Iranian leader. He says that will never happen, that the Iranian people will select their leader.
Yeah, Tom, and when I combine that story with your interview, it's even less clear to me how this war might end, because what I heard from the foreign minister there also was him saying that a victory for the Iranians would be to resist, to essentially survive, and to keep fighting back for as long as possible. He also said there are no conversations actively happening between the Iranians and the U.S. administration in any capacity, nor would there be, because that trust is now gone, that the U.S. has now struck Iran twice while negotiations were already in place. To me, that essentially leaves two possibilities here, that the U.S. continues to do this operation until the President Trump feels like the military goals have been reached. That's the, kind of the broad consensus statement from the administration right now, with what they're trying to do, or that this does become a far bloodier regime change war. You heard the foreign minister almost welcome the possibility of U.S. ground troops. And that's the other way these Middle Eastern wars tend to go, with the U.S. getting bogged down on the ground. So, you know, what the goals are here now for the United States, getting clarity from President Trump in response to this interview is going to be very, very important, because the sort of all the signs are here for how this could be messier and far longer of a conflict than the 4 to 5 weeks that the president has said is the goal.
And the foreign minister also told me that the last 2 times they were negotiating with the Trump administration, they've been bombed. So they don't see any reason why to negotiate anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And from their perspective, that's certainly understandable. It's also not clear what they could negotiate away at this point. I mean, the stated goals of the United States here are to destroy their Navy, destroy their ability to project power.
So the Trump administration did not learn from Iraq. I don't think that they learned from anything. They think the problem with Iraq was that we had too many rules of engagement. And I'll agree with them towards the end. Like, all the restrictions we had were bad, but it was to make up for all the travesties we committed in the first place. It wasn't like we should just take off, you know, ignore the fucking rules of engagement and fuck everybody up. That just radicalizes more people. And we did that when we were first in Iraq. Then someone said, oh, hearts and minds. We got to win the hearts and minds of the people. They fucking hate us. And so we went overkill in the opposite direction, where, like, if you even fired your weapon, you were fucking taken out of service for 2 weeks while they investigated to see whether it was a good shot or not, right? Like a police force, even though someone was actively shooting at you, it didn't fucking matter. So you have to treat it with, I don't know. It has to be handled like walking a fucking tightrope. Obviously, we have to engage with the enemy and kill them when they're trying to kill us. But we can't go around just blowing shit up, fucking shit up, killing people, fucking pissing on their bodies and shit, and all this media attention around it. That just radicalizes more people, and they think we're not there for the right reasons. We're there to fuck them over, and now they're going to pick up arms, and more people are going to be fighting us.
Their missile program and their nuclear program.
And we were there so goddamn long. Like, what was crazy is, like, yeah, you could have been born on 9/11 and served years in Iraq. We were there for so long. But the same is true of the people in Iraq. They could have been born after the invasion and only grew up under U.S. control. How would you think of your controllers when you're born in a country and you've never known anything but being controlled by a foreign entity that acts like they fucking hate you, that won't let you do the things you want to do, that run your fucking country, that kill your people, that, you know, shot your mom's brothers, uncles, blah, 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 and you've heard that story your whole life, and that's all you fucking know.
Program. What would the Iranians be able to show the Americans?
If someone invaded the United States, I'd do everything I could to fucking fight back until my last fucking breath. If I had to create IEDs, if I had to do roadside bombs, whatever it took, right?
Government to say that we have done this, that they have done this satisfactorily. The odds for a negotiated solution to this war, a negotiated end to this war, are getting smaller by the hour, I think, Tom.
We thank you for.
And then we got this clip, which I thought was wild. Now you tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm understanding this right, this is Hegseth complaining that the news is reporting U.S. soldiers' deaths to make the Trump administration look bad, as if the news should actually be reporting on how good we're doing in Iran and maybe, like, put the U.S. soldiers' death way in the back of the paper. It shouldn't be front page news.
This is not a mission accomplished situation. This is simply a reality check. The combination of U.S. and Israeli intelligence and combat power will control Iran, and will control it soon. Sure, Iran will still be able to shoot some missiles and still be able to launch one-way attack drones at civilian targets, and their proxies will attempt to attack our embassies, bases, and soft targets. They are terrorists, after all.
So drones are not that big a deal when you're talking. Now, we will have to fight a little bit different, like gigantic command posts and tents and shit, the way we've been doing. Drones will not be that big a deal if we have complete superiority of the battlefield. They become a big deal, especially like we've seen in fucking Russia and Ukraine, when there's a stalemate, when you can literally set up lines and boom, 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 boom. We know that they're right over here. When we're active, moving, attacking, blowing shit up, air superiority and taking over a country, hopefully we're not there long enough for the drones to fucking find us. But when we get in a stalemate, entrenched lines, fighting over a certain area for months sometimes, drones are going to be fucking devastating to everybody.
And they need to target civilians because they can't fight toe-to-toe. But we will find them, and we will kill them. This is what the fake news misses. We've taken control of Iran's airspace and waterways without boots on the ground. We control their fate. But when a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news.
When a few drones get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news. Yeah. When U.S. service members die, it's going to be front page. It better be front page news.
Page news. I get it. The press only wants to make the president look bad, but
the press only wants to make the president look bad. Reporting U.S. soldiers being killed in a war that nobody fucking asked for is the press just wants to make us look bad.
Wants to make the president look bad, but try for once to report the reality. The terms of this war will be set by us at every step. As I said Monday, the mission is laser focused. Obliterate Iran's missiles and drones and facilities that produce them, annihilate its navy and critical.
So, Carolyn Levitt gets asked about this. Here. It sounds to me like I could be wrong, but it sounds to me like he's blaming the media for his failure in protecting U.S. troops for this attack. And it seems like as more stuff comes out, that the real threat wasn't Iran, it was Israel. Israel said, we're attacking Iran. That we knew that they planned to probably attack our bases and our personnel and our people. So we had to go along with Israel because they were doing it anyways. And if we didn't, then the attack on our bases and people would have been worse. So it sounds like the threat was Israel, not Iran. Right? If Israel wasn't going to attack, then we didn't have to worry about the retaliation from the attack. Like, get the fuck out of here. That shit. Here is Carolyn Levitt.
The president is going to attend the dignified transfer for these families. Given what Secretary Hegseth said this morning, is it the position of this administration that the press should not prominently cover the deaths of U.S. service members?
No, it's the position of this administration that the press in this room and the press across the country should accurately report on the success of Operation Epic Fury and the damage it is doing to the rogue Iranian regime.
So again, don't worry about the soldiers' deaths. Just report how good we're doing. Right? Look how good we're doing. We're blowing stuff up still.
That has threatened the lives of every single American in this room. If the Iranian regime had their choice, they would kill every single person in this room. And so we can all be very grateful.
And then the media couldn't report on it. Just report on, how good we're doing.
That we have an administration and that we have men and women in our armed forces who are willing to sacrifice their own lives for the rest of us in this room and for every American across the country and for every troop that is based in the Middle East. That's what these...
Hegseth was complaining that it was front page news about these 6 service members who were killed.
That's not what the secretary said, Caitlin, and that's not...
That's exactly what he said. When tragedy happens, I get it. It's front page news because the media just wants to make us look bad.
What the secretary meant, and you know it. You know you are being disingenuous. There is not, we've never had a secretary of defense who cares more.
Get through or tragic things happen, it's front page news.
Wait till you find out about the Christianity death cults.
Get it, the press only wants to make the president look bad.
Yeah,
As you know, we cover the deaths of U.S. service members under every president.
The press does only want to make the president look bad. That's a fact.
Why are you putting the same shit in chat over and over again?
No, listen to me, especially you and especially CNN. And the Secretary of Defense cares deeply about our war fighters and our men and women in uniform. He travels all across this country to meet with them, to connect with them, and your network has hardly ever probably reported on that. You also had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Chairman Kane, who's a brave patriot standing alongside the Secretary at the Pentagon.
So because that guy's a patriot and a military member, that makes what Hegseth said okay.
on this morning, again expressing his condolences to these families. And I just told you that the President of the United States will be attending their dignified transfer. So please,
That's not making the president look bad. That's showcasing that.
We expect you to cover that as you should. We expect you to cover that as you should, Caitlin. But you and your network know that you take every single thing this administration says and tries to use it to make the president look bad. That is an objectable fact.
I don't think covering troop deaths is trying to make the president look bad.
If you're trying to argue right now that CNN's overwhelming coverage is not negative of president,
that's exactly not what she said. She said, I don't think covering troop deaths is trying to make the president look bad. It's just covering that troops died.
Donald Trump. I think the American people would tend to agree, and your ratings would tend to disagree with that as well.
The president is going to attend the dignified transfer.
And then the Marco Rubio clip.
There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat was that we knew that if Iran was attacked, and we believed they would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us.
There absolutely was a threat from Iran. And what it was a threat from Israel. Israel was going to attack Iran. We couldn't stop them or tell them not to or do anything about it. And then they were going to retaliate.
Would be attacked, that they would immediately come after us. And we were not going to sit there and absorb a blow before we responded, because the Department of War assessed that if we did that, if we waited for them to hit us first after they were attacked, and by someone else, Israel attacked them, they hit us first, and we waited for them to hit us, we would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting.
We went offensive in a defensive way. Proactively offensive in a defensive way.
We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage. Had we not done so, there would have been hearings on Capitol Hill about how we knew that this was going to happen and we didn't act preemptively to prevent more casualties and more loss of life. There absolutely was an imminent threat, and the imminent threat...
So who was the threat again? It sounds like Israel was the threat to everybody. Not only were they going to attack Iran unprovoked, they knew, as well as we knew, that if they attacked Iran, then Iran would lash out not only at them, but as us as well, and cause us casualties. So they drug us along with them. It's pretty wild. And Trump agreed to it. Israel has tried to get every fucking modern era president to attack Iran with them. And all of them have told them to get fucked. We're not getting bogged down in another fucking war, except for Trump. You really like my ballroom? Yeah, I'll attack Iran with you.
We have some news right now. China may soon get involved in the war in Iran. Russia has already gotten involved. China may be next. According to CNN, American intelligence suggests that the Chinese government is prepared to join the conflict in the Middle East, providing Iran with financial assistance, along with spare parts and missile components. Russia has already supported Iran's effort. The Washington Post reported this morning that Russia was providing intelligence to Iran as to where to strike American ships, American military bases, and other assets in the region. So it looks like China may be joining the war next. Why? Because China relies on oil coming from Iran and has been pressuring those around Iran to allow the ships to go through the Strait of Hormuz so that China can get the oil. This is turning into a potentially much larger conflict, with China supporting Iran, Russia supporting Iran, and the United States and Europe against Iran. Spread the word, follow along, stay up to date on all the news you need to know about. There'll be more to come soon. We have some news right now. China.
Sounds great. Also, remember, this all started because Trump didn't like that Obama did the Iran deal.
America, before the Iran nuclear deal, their uranium stockpile looked just like this pyramid. And after the deal, almost gone. And here's the crazy part. History records one of the biggest peace breakthroughs in decades, and we may have missed or given the Nobel Prize to the wrong guy, because the deal that stopped Iran's nuclear program was engineered in Tehran, and then he destroyed it with a tweet. The question isn't whether the deal worked. The question is who needed it to fail. And in 2015, Iran's president Hassan Rouhani engineered the most consequential diplomatic breakthrough in decades. decades. He ran on one promise: reopen Iran to the world and rescue their economy under sanctions. Even the supreme leader allowed these negotiations. For the first time in 60 years, enemies chose peace. On one side of the table, the United States, Britain, France, Germany, Russia, China. It was a big deal. The goal was simple: prevention. Centrifuges were dismantled. 97% of uranium shipped out. Reactor cores removed and filled with concrete. The most intrusive inspections ever negotiated. Inspectors were inside facilities, even the bunkers that we bombed. Each cup is 1,000 kilograms of uranium before.
No, I think that was more of a, I don't know, a pep rally kind of deal. If you're talking about where he invited every fucking officer to D.C. or whatever.
For the deal, after the deal. For years, independent international inspectors confirmed Iran was complying. Even the Pentagon and U.S. intelligence confirmed it. No more lies. Patriotism is rooted in facts. We had our own people in those facilities the days before the deal was torn up, and he withdrew us from the agreement. Snapped sanctions back in place.
The only reason Trump hates the Iran deal is because Obama did it. The only reason Trump hates Obamacare is because he wants Trump care. Obama got a Nobel Peace Prize. Trump wants one, right? Anything that Obama did, got to go.
Despite other countries trying to keep this alive, you add a warmongering Netanyahu to the collapse, and diplomacy never stood a chance. 2020, they kill Soleimani, and the door of peace slams shut. From peace to war. So ask yourself something. Why? Because peace is bad for business. Each cup is $60 million. That's about the entire income of 800 American families in one cup. This stack, $18 billion. Money moving between 3 Gulf princes and the U.S. president's family. That's enough money to build the most sophisticated aircraft carrier going to one family. Crypto deals, golf courses, real estate bailouts. You follow the money, same names come up. Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the Emirates, Trump. Because those princes do not fear Iran's bombs. They fear Iran's oil. If Iran was fully open, they would flood the market and crush the price of the oil they sell. Sanctions keep it nice and tight. Weapon sales boom. So when billions from those same princes start flowing into the same orbit as the American president's family, that's corruption. The truth is free. He destroyed a working peace agreement to personally enrich himself. Cups talk. Bullshit walks. I hope you learned something. I'm always rooting for you.
And if you guys wonder what we're not talking about because the war is going on, check this video out. Hot off the presses.
Guys, the U.S. economy just lost 92,000 jobs, and unemployment went up. That all happened in the month of February, and that was not expected. You got to see it on a chart so you really get the idea of what I'm talking about. This is what the last 5 years of the U.S. jobs market has looked like, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. You can see month after month after month after month, U.S. employers adding hundreds of thousands of jobs to the U.S. economy. Now, in 2024, we started to see the jobs gains slowing. Of course, this is still representing like 100,000 jobs a month, right? Different than, July of 2022 when they were adding more than 700,000 jobs per month, but still more than 100, right? It was slowing, but still adding about 100,000 jobs.
We're not talking about the jobs number while Trump is dragging us into World War III.
But then we hit 2025, and this started to happen. That is job loss. Let me give you a closer look. This is what the last year has looked like. See, January 2025 to February of 2026. 5 of the last 10 months, we have seen job loss in this country, which, as I just showed you, we never saw once in the previous 4 years. And just so you can get your bearings, right there at the very end, that February number is the minus 92,000 jobs that were just reported today by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Also very important, BLS said the unemployment rate increased in the month of February.
What?
Which means more people are out of work and collecting unemployment. In February, the unemployment rate was 4.4%, which is up just slightly from 4.3% in January. Clearly, this is going in the wrong direction. But here's the most important part. These numbers reflect the job situation prior to this war with Iran. This information is for February, so we won't see what's happening with the jobs market in March until April. So what the hell is going on? Well, most employers have been very concerned.
They actually chants Marg Bar America, which means down with the USA. Kind of like down with the sickness, but you tried.
Hesitant about President Trump's back and forth with tariffs. Employers make their plans.
I wonder why they wouldn't be fans of the United States. I bet you there's something in their past that maybe they're like, fuck those guys. I don't know. Probably be too hard to look into it, wouldn't it? Billy Bacon.
Years in advance. They don't operate on the whims of a president. And the reality is things change almost daily with Trump. So it's very difficult for these
Also, death to America. What now? Motherfucking Texas is booming. I don't believe in your magical liberal numbers. Texas is amazing. I bet you those numbers are made up by liberals. You got it, boss.
To make long-term plans like earned and hesitant.
Numbers don't lie. This is across the entire fucking economy. Didn't do this under fucking Biden. The fuck are we doing? Texas is booming. Come down here and start an AI factory where I assume they make baby AIs. I got you.
President Trump's back and forth with tariffs. Employers make their plans years in advance. They don't operate on the whims of a president. And the reality is things change almost daily with Trump. So it's very difficult for these employers to make long-term plans like creating more jobs and hiring more people.
Trump's the economy guy, right? Bringing back all the jobs, bringing back manufacturing is fucked. The manufacturing numbers are so fucked. Going to lower all the prices. That didn't actually come down. Groceries are 30% more expensive. The one thing he got was gas, and that's not even U.S. domestic production. That's from overseas.
That employer doesn't know how
Oh, and eggs. Bird flu passed.
Going to cost him or her tomorrow. Does that make sense? On top of that, there is also a lot of concern about AI and how that is going to impact the jobs market. Now, the president himself has not yet commented on this not so great jobs report, but his labor secretary has. She put out a statement blaming the bad numbers on strikes, which of course did happen in the healthcare sector.
Strikes. They blamed it on strikes. They blamed a rise in unemployment and some of the worst job numbers we've seen in fucking 4 goddamn years on strikes.
Did legitimately contribute to these numbers, but she also blamed it on bad weather. And then she went on to say there are several positive signs in the report for our economy that continue to show American workers.
Weather dragged down February non-farm unemployment. You guys get, I mean, I understand construction, but we're talking about the whole fucking economy. Most people don't get off for weather.
Are recovering from
or get fired for weather.
Mess left behind by Biden.
Oh, there it is. Ding, 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 ding. The mess left behind by Biden. Duh. 2 years ago. We're still on Biden's economy, and this is Biden's war in the Middle East. Idiots.
Now, I'm not really sure what mess specifically she's talking about, as I just showed you the actual government.
Look at this. 2022, 2023, 2024. Trump takes office.
Data for most of President Biden's term, and there was never 1 month of job loss. But here's what could happen because of this weakening job situation that we've been seeing. It may change the calculus.
Again, it's all bolster. It's all a lie. It's all getting people angry at immigrants and that your job's gone and blah, blah, blah. Oil and gas prices and the trans people are coming to take your bathrooms. The bathroom signs will be so confusing. If I don't get elected, you won't even know where to piss. You have to piss in a corner outside behind the building. But then they just still fuck everything up. They don't bring back jobs. They don't bring back manufacturing. They can't do anything about anything. Just fucks.
The Federal Reserve when they meet in 2 weeks. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to go with loss. But here's what could happen because of this weakening job situation that we've been seeing. It may change the calculus for the Federal Reserve when they meet in 2 weeks. Now, I'm not sure if they're going to go as far as to cut interest rates this month, but if this jobs market continues to slow and weaken the way it has been, the Fed may start to speed up their timeline for when they're going to start cutting interest rates this year. So if you don't believe me about these jobs numbers, you can look at them yourself. I will email them to you tonight in my Facts HQ email.
Pretty tough.
The one thing that President Trump has consistently pointed to that he says proves that his economy is the best in American history is gas prices. But now we are seeing those gas prices soar because of this war with Iran, and Trump has completely changed his tune. When asked about these rising prices, Trump told Reuters, I don't have any concern about it. And then he went on to say, they'll drop very rapidly when this is over, and if they rise, they rise. But this is far more important than having gasoline prices go up a little bit. Now, the problem is Trump keeps giving us a different timeline for when this thing with Iran is going to be over, and those gas prices will rapidly go back down. Initially, he said this war with Iran would be over in a few
weeks. I think it raised like 12% in 1 week. National average is like 330 something.
Said a few weeks, then he said 4 to 6 weeks, then he said a month, and now just recently he said we'll be there as long as it takes. In fact, today the president said this won't be over until there's unconditional surrender from Iran. Look, that could take a very long time, and in the meantime, Iran has effectively shut.
Depending on who's in charge, unconditional surrender, if that's what he's literally going by, whoever the designated leader is, unconditional surrender, then they kill that guy, and it gets, that could take a long fucking time.
Down the Strait of Hormuz, which transports about 20% of the global oil supply. How? Because Iran has said that any tanker that bears the flag of the United States or Israel or Europe will be targeted by missile strikes. So to get the energy flowing again, President Trump has offered U.S. military escorts through the strait for those oil tankers, though those haven't started just yet. And besides that, a lot.
But again, listen, say you own a company, right? And your job is to make the most money you can. It's dangerous in a strait you have to go through. You could go today for $85 a barrel. Or you could wait 3 weeks and suddenly you didn't get any more oil. You didn't do anything extra. Your cargo fucking doubled in price. They have no incentive to cross right now. If they can say it's dangerous and sit there and prices just keep climbing, there's no incentive for them to go through right now. One, it's dangerous. Two, they're just making more money.
Global oil supply comes from the Middle East, which, of course, all those countries have basically been dragged into this war, too. So what's that doing? This is what it's doing. This is a chart that tracks the oil prices per barrel in the United States. This is the price per barrel right before the strikes began. This is how they jumped right after the strikes began. And this is the price per barrel today. It's been hovering around $90, $91. That is a 37% increase in the price for a barrel of oil in just a week. And that's translating to the price you pay at the gas pump. According to AAA, the national average for a gallon of regular today is $3.32. That is 34 cents higher than it was last week and 7 cents higher than just yesterday. So if you want to see all these charts for yourself, I'm going to email them out to you tonight, my Facts HQ email, which of course is free. So make sure you sign yourself up. The one thing that President Trump has consistently pointed to, the U.S. government has had TikTok in its crosshairs for years. Lawmakers call it a Chinese propaganda weapon.
Oh, that's a pinned video. We've already seen that one. I think she did, yeah. Who is Mark Wayne Mullen? Did we already cover this?
Senator Mark Wayne.
No, I don't think so.
And what's going to happen to the Republican Senate majority when he leaves to be the next Homeland?
Nothing. So the governor gets to just appoint somebody until the next election cycle in the Senate.
And Security Secretary.
It's not the same in the House of Representatives, but in the Senate it is.
Questions, which I'm going to answer for you in this video. Let me be very clear. It will mean absolutely nothing.
Isn't Oklahoma like 50th in education anyways?
Senator Mark Wayne Mullen leaves the Senate at the end of March to become Homeland Security Secretary. And here's why. When a senator leaves his or her seat in the middle of his or her term, the 17th Amendment of the Constitution says that the governor of the state that the senator represents will appoint a temporary replacement to fill that Senate seat. And the person the governor appoints will then hold on to that seat for the remainder of the senator's term. It is important for you to know that the Constitution says that is not what happens when a member of the House.
Have you seen him? This? Now, of course, all the fucking knuckle dragon MAGA that show up in my chat and is like, you want to fight about it? I'd beat you up. Or fucking Bert, probably fucking Bort. They probably fucking love this, but hold on.
Sir, this is a time, this is a place. If you want to run your mouth, we can be two consenting adults. We can finish it here.
Okay, that's fine. Perfect.
You want to do it now?
I'd love to do it right now.
Well, stand your butt up then.
You stand your butt up.
Oh, hold on. Oh, stop it.
Is that your solution every
problem? No, sit down. Sit down.
Look at you.
You know, you're a United States Senator. Sit down.
Active.
Oh, okay.
Sit down, please.
All right.
Can I respond? Mr.
Hold it.
Is this the place for this? Like, no fucking decorum, no respect for the office, no nothing. Like, let's fight right here. This is a time. This is a place. I think it spilled over from something that was like online, and the head of the Teamsters said anytime, any place. He's like, this is a time. This is a place. Let's do it right here. We'll fight in this chamber. Fucking losers, dude.
No, I have the...
Talk about Mr.
Wait till you see this. Hold on. Mark Wayne Mullen. Now, the guy's never served. He's not a veteran. He's not even a peacetime veteran. Never served anywhere.
If you're going to start a new war based on lies, why not kick
Let's hear how he talks about war.
stolen valor too? And that is exactly what Republican Senator Mark Wayne Mullen decided to.
Yep. Hiding from the totally peaceful MAGA patriots that were just there to get his autograph or whatever on January 6th. Then sends that weird-ass tweet to Pete Hegseth saying, I will stand in the gap. I will take a bullet. I'll be the first to fall. I will follow you into the fire. Stupid shit.
To do on Monday while defending the administration.
I think he likes to cosplay as a veteran. Because watch this.
Mark Wayne Mullen went on Fox News and said this: war is ugly. It smells bad, and if anybody has ever been there and been able to smell the war that's happening around you and taste it and feel it in your nostrils and hear it, it's something that you'll never forget, and it's ugly.
Wait a second. It's something that you'll never forget, and it's... You've never been to a war. You haven't even served in the military during peacetime. What do you mean war is ugly? How the fuck would you know? This is a direct quote from this fucking lunatic. Here it is. Here's his Twitter post that I told you was cringy as fuck. Like, sit the fuck down. You're a plumber, bro. You're an Oklahoma plumber. He says, I will lead the breach. I will lay down cover fire. I will take the high ground. I'll expose myself to enemy fire to communicate. We must bring back integrity, focus, and put the warfighter first inside the DOD. I stand with SecDef Pete Hegseth. Is this you, bro? Is this you hiding from the totally peaceful patriots? How fucking cringy can you get? War is hell. War, wait till you smell it.
Damn. I bet Mark Wayne Mullen has some pretty crazy war stories to tell us, right? It's just one problem. The only thing throughout Mark Wayne Mullen's career that's gotten stuck in his nostrils and smelled bad and been ugly are the pipes that he cleaned as a plumber when he was handed his father's plumbing business. You see, Mark Wayne Mullen never served in the United States military. He never served in a war.
Why would you even say that, though? I don't get it.
War.
I want to hear him say it. If it's on Fox News, it's probably recorded, right? Oh, here it is.
It's about time a president of the United States stood up and took care of this nuisance that's been around for 47 years.
Nuisance is quite a word for it, considering all the other things we've just attributed to that.
You know how Donald Trump talks? It's like, look, we want a guy with a heavy Southern drawl, the part of a lifetime. No one can do that. And then they found Mark Wayne Mullen. Mark Wayne Mullen wants you to believe he's a self-made man, yet he inherited his daddy's plumbing business. He colors himself some kind of a tough guy, some kind of a rough and tumble character, yet he cowered like a
Main streets of Oklahoma, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma.
Direction on the House floor. He's just it's everything that you want with a Republican. No,
his record is 4-0, but he only fought 4 fights.
He's a dipshit. He's also the
I didn't recognize any of the names of the people he fought MMA.
Spokesman for Donald Trump that we have known, and it's a long line of people who really try to get out there and be a great surrogate for the president. Mark Wayne Mullen is he's
got a very punchable face.
Media splash right now. He's just out there on every news show. Yesterday he was on Fox News.
Valhalla, brother. I'll see you in Valhalla, brother.
CNN and News Nation.
Well, I might see you. Don't step into my blind spot, brother.
It was wild. And one, he can't get it right. He keeps calling it Iraq. He's calling Pete Hegseth multiple times, even after correcting himself, calling Pete Hegseth President Hegseth. It is just like, who's booking this guy? I mean, I know it's just juicy. It's red meat for people who watch politics on the news all the time. But why is the administration?
I don't know the MMA was as big as his life as like the whoever was working hard to get him elected wanted it to be in his campaign. From MMA to the mean streets of D.C., we're knocking out crime, and we're going to force a submission on inflation. You know what I mean?
Saying, hey, dude, why don't you sit this one out, champ? Why don't you ride the pine for a little bit? Sit on the bench, brother, because you're not helping the cause. Let's start with this. Mark Wayne Mullen, a man who never served a moment in uniform, a non-veteran, a non-military member, zero military experience, explaining on Fox News what the smell of war is like.
It lost a life. When the president first came out and he talked to the American people, he was very resolved and direct on what we could expect. War is ugly. It smells bad. And if anybody's ever been there and been able to smell the war that's happening around you and taste it and feel it in your nostrils and hear it, it's something that you'll never forget. And it's ugly. And fortunately, you have President.
It's something that, here's a correction. It's something they'll never forget. You can't just repeat stuff that veterans say and attribute to veterans like as if you were there. Get the fuck out of here.
War is ugly. It smells bad. And if anybody's ever been there and been able to smell the war that's happening around you and taste it and feel it in your nostrils and hear it, it's something that you'll never forget. And it's ugly. And fortunately, you have President Hegseth, or I say President Hegseth.
Oh, by the way, you guys remember that Al Green of Texas had that sign at the State of the Union that said black people aren't apes. He didn't yell, he didn't scream, he didn't do nothing. He just held it up when the president walked by, and people took pictures of it. Mark Wayne Mullen tried to wrestle it away from him. Tried to wrestle it away from him. He's like some type of weird fucking bully.
Secretary Hegseth, that has got a great relationship with President Ugly. It smells.
Feel it in your nostrils.
To the American people. He was very.
Now, I wouldn't know, but I imagine it's a lot like good cocaine.
Resolved and direct on what we could expect. War is ugly. It smells bad. And if anybody's ever been there and been able to smell the war that's happening around you and taste it and feel it in your nostrils and hear it, it's something that you'll never forget. And it's ugly. And fortunately, you have President Hegseth, or I say President Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, that has got a great relationship with President Trump. And President Hegseth's been there. He's done that. You have Chairman Kane.
Yeah. War is ugly.
He did say President Hegseth multiple times.
A man who's never seen war, never even been inside of a military uniform. It smells bad, he says. If anybody has ever been there and been able
feel it in your nostrils,
happening around you, and taste it and feel it in your nostrils. Tell us, what's it like? What's it like to serve your country in the military? Mark Wayne Mullen. No, tell me, please. Elucidate me. Enlighten me.
I don't know about you guys, but my favorite part was the toxic chemical burn pits.
With your deep, abiding understanding of what it's like to serve in uniform, selflessly, volunteer. And then tell me more about President Hegseth. Come on, man. Come on. This is the guy. That continued. We're going to pick the clip up pretty much right there where it left off about how bad war is and how bad it smells. And President Hegseth, he catches himself and then continues to call him President Hegseth.
And it's ugly. And fortunately, you have President Hegseth, or I said President Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, that has got a great relationship with President Trump. And President Hegseth's been there. He's done that. You have that your troops are committed. He has the ability to come back. If it doesn't fall underneath the AUMFF, he has the ability to come back and declare war and ask for Congress to declare war on Iraq. Right now,
I mean, it's to call it nonsensical just doesn't get it done. This is, I mean, I'm sure Pete Hegseth is just like standing at attention in more ways than one. Oh, yes, sir. Thank you. I would love to be President Hegseth. Never going to happen, brother. Never going to happen. You don't got it. You don't got whatever magic sauce MAGA loves to gobble down. You don't got it. So it wasn't just him repeatedly calling Pete Hegseth the President of the United States. It wasn't just him talking about his deep, abiding knowledge and understanding and experience in combat and what war's like. He also took to CNN where he just got ravaged by just basic questions. That's what's so beautiful about this. You don't even have to be someone who...
All the pictures I find of him as like an MMA fighter, like actually in a ring, are AI. There's one of him like in a gym for a clear photo op. From the Daily Beast, that's this. But like clearly this was set up, the lighting, the fucking timing of everything is set up. There are pictures of him like in a fucking octagon, but they're clearly AI. I don't know. He was so he went to college in wrestling, and he was apparently pretty good in wrestling. He went a scholarship for wrestling.
Did a whole bunch of prep and research to formulate your gotcha questions. You just let this moron run his suck, and then you pick him apart. This is him continuing, he did it all day, continuing to slip up and calling Iran Iraq, because we are repeating the same mistakes of the past, and not mistakes from 100 years ago, just 20 years ago. We all remember the Iraq War. We all remember how bad it was. We all remember that we were so many people were so ginned up. I was one of them. After 9/11, I lived here in the city on 9/11. Or in the Washington, D.C. area. I remember being like, oh, yeah, we gotta do something. But now we don't have that. We don't have a 9/11 to unify everybody to an illegal war. And by everybody, I mean the vast majority of the nation was on board. And now we know that was a mistake. But here we have...
Where were you when the world stopped turning on that September day?
Dipshit Mark Wayne Mullen, who continues to make the same mistake and can't even get the word Iraq out of his brain and off of his tongue when talking about Trump's war in Iran.
Question when it comes to the AUMF, which why it was passed for terrorist organizations that was trying to harm us. There's no question that Iran clearly fits in that picture, because we know, you and I, it's not even debatable, we know that Iran's been the #1 sponsor of terror around the world for decades now.
But sir, doesn't that slip that you made underscore exactly why the American people are telling us in our poll that they don't want this? I mean, the memory of Iraq is still very fresh in a lot of Americans' minds.
Well, this isn't Iraq. We made that very clear. Pete Hegseth, Secretary Hegseth, made that very clear. This isn't the same approach. You keep in mind, we took out the leader within an hour. There was no direction between where we were going with Iraq and where we're going with Iran. When we have clear, precise targets that we're hitting, we're taking out their ability to launch missiles at us and our assets around the region. We're clearly not going to allow them ever to have a nuclear weapon, and that is very clear. We want to make sure that we're protecting all of our assets home and abroad, and we wanted to eliminate the threat.
What do you mean, well, this isn't Iraq? Secretary Hegseth said this isn't Iraq. You just called it Iraq. Do you not understand? You don't get it? Mark Wayne? And then this last clip, maybe I should have started with this, but I tried to go a little bit more chronologically here. In this clip, it really gets into the mind of who they think we're dealing with and how they do view the situation on the ground, where he's talking about the death of Americans. We have dead soldiers sent to their deaths in an illegal, unconstitutional war. And the justification for their death, the reasonable nature with which we should understand the context of their death, is that they died for the nuisance.
You could taste it in your nose.
That Iran was. Not the grave national security.
And hear the drip in the back of your throat.
Threat. Not a threat to your life and the well-being of your families. No. Yeah, it's because of the nuisance they were.
How many Americans are you willing to see lose their lives in this fight?
Listen, one is too many. The problem is, one is too many. The problem is we've already lost thousands. You can go back and have a timeline in which I know you know the timeline of how many times they've attacked us, going back all the way to 1979 when they took the students hostage, to the time that they've attacked our interests at sea and on land over the last 47 years. So we already lost Americans over this murderous regime. The question is how many more?
Hey guys, I don't know if you know this, but Texas is booming. Just everybody move to Texas. Texas is booming.
we willing to lose before we finally done something? The fact is we're stopping it. President Trump has stopped it. He stopped future killings that this murderous regime this underneath the Ayatollah can do to our people home and abroad. So it's about time President of the United States stood up and took care of this nuisance that's been around for 47
That's our new go-to. The Dow is 50 thou, and Texas is booming.
years.
Nuisance is quite a word for it, considering all the other things we've just attributed to them. But okay, Senator Mark Wayne Mullen, I always appreciate you coming and being willing to answer questions. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Casey.
Good to know we're starting wars over nuisances. I'd love to tell my neighbors when they stay up late and have a party that they're at risk of me declaring war and bringing over my firearms because of the nuisance. Do you hear yourself, Mark Wayne? Do you think you sound like a smart guy? Listen, I was going to say I hate to be the one to break it to you, but I revel being the one to break it to you. You, sir, are a fucking moron. Why does Mark Wayne Mullen not hang out and go to the same restaurants or bars that I do in the city? I can't get a little face-to-face time with the Mark Mullen. He could tell me more. Mark Wayne. I always get the Mark Wayne. What a name. What a guy. What a brain. Anyway, what do you think? This is a leader in one of two.
Hell of a guy.
One of the two effective political parties in our country. United States Senator. Yeah, let that sink in. Anyway, you can comment below. I'd love to hear from you. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me, daily@dollamore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Maybe I'll see you, Mark Mullen. Bump into you in town, huh? Be genuine and take care of one another.
What about gas? What's it going to do?
How high can gas and diesel go? Well, check this out, okay? Now, a lot of people are celebrating this, that China has halted fuel exports. They think it's some kind of flex against China. That's not what this is. This is an attack on us, okay? Understand how markets work. China has over 1 billion barrels of oil in their strategic reserves. They're fine. Why are they halting exports? To drive up our gasoline and diesel prices? Yes. But it'll only work if we let it. I'm pretty sure we will. When many of these countries around the world start running low on gasoline and diesel, they will be willing to pay a lot of money for it. And our refiners will be happy to send it to them. What I'm saying is, when the shit hits the fan, we're just another customer. So our exports of gasoline and diesel are going to jump a lot, and that's going to drive our gas and diesel prices up significantly. It's going to outpace the rise in oil prices. Unless, of course, we get the Strait back open. So we'll see. Thanks. How high?
Thanks. All right, last one, then I'm out of here, guys. I'm going to go home and get some rest. Let's see what we got. What about the elder millennial being wrong again? You guys remember
so now we learn that
the award show where the guy with Tourette's yelled out the N-word, and he has Tourette's, and he was there because a movie that he was executive producer on about his life was being thing, and they edited most of it out, but I guess they missed one. It was like a 2-hour delay between the live show and when it went out, and I guess they missed one, and it just happened that 2 black people were on stage when he yelled it out, and it came out, and the guy felt really bad, so he went and sat out in a different spot instead of like with the rest of them, which is sad. Got Tourette's, he can't help it. But here's what the elder millennial thinks about it.
So now we learn that even the gaming community is more accepting of people with disabilities than Hollywood.
I'm sure he's talking generally about the Hollywood crowd, but he's about to be talking about the BAFTAs, which are awards put on by the British Academy of Film and Television Arts, which famously is in Britain, not in Hollywood, California.
Because they made a dude with Tourette's apologize publicly for having Tourette's.
No, they didn't. As People.com reported, the man that he's referring to, John Davidson, said, and I quote, "Whilst I will never apologize for having Tourette syndrome, I will apologize for any pain, upset, and misunderstanding that it may create." Once again, it seems that the older millennial is just blatantly lying.
And then shit on him for his apology anyway.
And no, they didn't. I'll show you in a second.
They just edit that out. And I will remind you, the BAFTAs had the ability to do that. This was not a live show.
That is true. The BAFTAs are aired about 2 hours after the live event. John Davidson since has said that the BAFTAs notified everybody that any kind of cursing or slurs would be edited out. So it seems like somebody at the BAFTAs either made a mistake and chose not to edit it out.
Drop the ball.
2 hours after the event before it aired, or they just made a consciously bad choice to keep it in the airing.
The BAFTAs used this as an opportunity to say everybody's racist. Why am I not surprised?
What?
Because you live in a fantasy world. Do you think that a large public organization is going to say everybody is racist? Let's fact check that claim. I'm going to put the words here on screen and speed things up, but immediately following what happened, BAFTA said,
"We sincerely apologize to everyone who was offended by the strong and offensive language that was broadcast during the BAFTA Film Awards. The language was spoken involuntarily by a guest with Tourette's syndrome. The BBC and BAFTA regret that this was not edited out of the broadcast."
And shortly after that, BAFTA put out a longer statement reading,
"At the BAFTA Film Awards last night, our guests heard very offensive language that carries incomparable trauma and pain for so many. We want to acknowledge the harm this has caused, address what happened, and apologize to all. One of our guests, John Davidson, MBE, has Tourette's syndrome and has devoted his life to educating and campaigning for better understanding of this condition. Tourette's syndrome causes involuntarily verbal tics that the individual has no control over. Such tics are in no way a reflection of an individual's beliefs and are not intentional. John Davidson is an executive producer of the BAFTA-nominated film, I Swear, which is based on his life experience. We take the duty of care to all our guests very seriously and start from a..."
He can't do anything but worship Trump and say, Texas is booming.
"Position of inclusion. We took measures to make those in attendance aware of the tics, announcing to the audience before the ceremony began..." And
if this was 3 weeks ago and anybody would have said, well, maybe we ought to go to war in Iran, he'd been like, you pieces of shit, that's all you want to do. Warmongers, war hawks, did you know Texas is booming? We don't even need to go to Iran. Now he's like, we need to get that. We're all tired of them. They've been chanting and saying words that I don't like, and we got to get rid of them.
in the room and that they may hear strong language, involuntary noises, or movements during the ceremony. Early in the ceremony, a loud tick in the form of a profoundly offensive term was heard by many people in the room. Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo were on stage at the time, and we apologize unreservedly to them and to all those impacted. We would like to thank Michael and Delroy for their incredible dignity and professionalism. During the ceremony, John chose to leave the auditorium and watch the rest of the ceremony from a screen, and we would like to thank him for his dignity and consideration of others on what should have been a night of celebration for him. We take full responsibility for putting our guests in a very difficult situation, and we apologize to all. We will learn from this. And
you mean to tell me they didn't come out and say everybody's racist, you racist pieces of shit, stop being so racist? That's wild.
All we do, maintaining our belief in film and storytelling as a critical conduit for compassion and empathy.
Now you tell me, is any part of either of those statements calling everybody racist, or is the older millennial just being disingenuous once again?
So now we learn that even the gaming community is more accepting of people with disabilities than Hollywood.
I'm sure he's talking generally about...
God hates Texas. We know that for a fact.
What do you think you should be proficient at in order to graduate the second?
Oh, we already covered this one, didn't we?
Reading and math.
If you're a normal person, you're probably thinking like basic math skills, basic reading.
That's the one where you have to, he claims that kindergartners have to be able to differentiate between oral, anal, and vaginal sex, all kinds of shit. Texas is booming on my Grindr account. It's just boom after boom after boom. 3 big booms. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. Support the show if you want to. Leave a message so I know who to thank. Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate it. We'll see you about in the next one. Have a good night. I'm going to get some rest. Have a good weekend, actually. I forgot it was Friday. Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. Love you. See you. Bye. 3 big bear booms. Got all the bear booms in Texas.
This about if this douchebag happens to see this particular show, you don't have the fork and balls to call out the people on this planet by name and tell them exactly who they are and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have
Oh, Mark Wayne Jr. in the chat.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think
My name's Billy Ray. Why does he think my name's Mark Wayne? Billy Ray Bacon.
You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. And they say that I'm a lunatic. Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6th sense for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord.
If you want to meet up, we have to match on Grindr first, bro. Look me up. Bring you this fucking glory hole hot dog. Bet you wouldn't say that to my face after I finish you off in the back of my throat. Bet I would.
What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers, cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage.
While making eye contact.
Cause you ain't seen. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the placing them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing.
Bet you wouldn't come down here and rearrange my guts in Texas, huh, pretty boy? What? Easy, guy. I'm married.
Rockets. I strapped it to my shoes and then I found myself in
He thinks if he puts weird spacing in that it'll go through, and if he doesn't space it weird, it won't go through. I don't know. He just makes shit up. I gotta put in extra spaces or this liberal YouTube won't let me chat.
What?
Okay.
What are you doing? It's it. Stop. Fucking stop. Dude, come on. Seriously. My mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh my.
He's fucking outside the Matrix, guys. Chill. Billy Bob Bacon. Bet you won't come down here and make me squeal like a pig. Texas is booming.
Stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Round 3. Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him backed up on the ropes, trying to ram it down his throat. Now things are
Strange, but you've never known a better lover.
all over. Hands on his shoulders, they ringing his bell. You got Frog News Network too.
Don't fall in lust, Billy Bob.
Cox that came first, ninth inning, second string, and they acting like they know hitters. Assholes throwing bullshit, sending runs to the shitter. All this nonsense on my conscience, it's hard to sleep at night. Who the fuck is in my window with this time of the night? These parasites, these leeches, with all their secret meetings, teaching all you fucking cretins about baby-eating heathens. Believing in reasons with no meaning is bullshit.
You're the one that asked me to come down there and fuck you, dude. I don't know.
Here we go, I think I started some shit.
I'm not trying to judge here, but
About to get lit, get to placing them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss them off, it's about to get lit.
you want to finish in my mouth or my man tits? Texas is booming.
Buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet.
You don't have those guts because you're a pussy.
Good night, my Iranian revolutionaries.
Aviator glasses in your mother's